Previously on the Jay and Dan podcast.
I think it'd be great, though, if I got to do your obit. We just say it at the end of the show. By the way, Jay Onright's dead. See you tomorrow.
Here's the worst play of the day.
Old man Toolsy.
Dad,
That wasn't it.
will you marry me? James, we consume per day 2 500ml cans of NOS.
You're gonna die.
Oh, new subject. Who are those kids? Oh, where's Granny?
Right.
How old are you? Perfect. Lesbian? Okay. Maybe? Jay is getting flat. Ooh, I'm going to Australia.
No one will miss me. Jake Onright. He was good once.
You're listening to the Jay and Dan podcast, brought to you by Mark's Never Iron Perfectly Pressed Shirts.
Dance! Dance!
Dance. Is that what the heck I'm supposed to do? Dance. Let's talk about penises. That's basically what this show is, isn't it?
Wow. Hey, welcome to the podcast. It's the Jay and Dan podcast. No Jay. That other voice is James Duthie. He's sitting in for Mr. Onright, who's in Australia. Yeah. Welcome.
I told you, I feel like I don't know what to do. First of all, I don't know, I really understand this whole podcast thing. And second, I mean, I listen to you guys whenever I can, but basically Jay swears a lot and talks about penises, and I can't do that, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
How do you like our confines? We're in the Hot Box studio. There are 4 of us sitting within probably 1.5 feet of each other.
Is this how you always do this?
No, this is...
Do you usually have like the big glossy studio?
Yes, usually we have like a nice studio where we've got room to move.
So the big shot Onright goes away and you stick me in the closet?
I'm just terrified of Christoph's hands because if he moves an inch, well, he'll be feeling something.
That goes both directions, I think.
He's sitting in between us. Well, James, thanks for co-hosting.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks for having me. It's the only time we've talked basically in the last year. So
I wanted to play "This Is Your Life" and bring the TSN Puppets audio from the TSN Puppets when the NHL and TSN first began, but we couldn't find. Right. I think those tapes have been destroyed.
Right. That was like the goofiest thing on the network until you two.
So lead us through this, because when the NHL in its early days, they were trying some different things.
Right.
And puppets was one of those things.
Well, I don't want to turn this into like dominate the podcast with the story, because I got brought in at the last second, you remember?
Yes.
To the NHL on TSN. I was hired because of something that's a really good story, but I can't really share it all. I was brought in like 24 hours before it started. I was just happily doing Sports Center with Duthie.
Yep.
And so I walked in, and I hadn't even been down to like our big studio yet. I knew we had the rights back, but I was doing other things. And I come in first meeting, and they had puppets and 2 puppets, and
what were their names?
They were presented to me like, okay, first show, what are we doing, guys? I want to catch me up to speed. Okay, well, we're going to open with the puppets. And I said, well, sorry, what? Yeah, we have 2 puppets there, and I think it was based on like a Wayne and Garth type thing. That was what it was supposed to be. And there was a staff of about 19 puppeteers.
I heard the puppeteers were from Fraggle Rock.
They were actually, the puppeteers were very nice guys, and the puppets were, I don't know, cute.
Do you know their names? Because it was 2 guys sitting at a coffee table, right?
I have no recollection. I've wiped it all from my mind. But they were doomed to failure. They were actually funny guys, but you couldn't be funny. You couldn't, like, say, they were supposed to make comments on the game, like they'd pop up for a minute at the end of intermission. But, it was conservative TV, even back then. What's that, 2002 or 3? Yeah. It was a different world back then, so they couldn't make... They weren't, the TSN was worried about the NHL.
It was a different world back then. 10 years ago.
Well, no, but the world's changed, Dan. So they didn't, they couldn't be racy. They'd make jokes like, how about that Yager? Remember his mullet?
They couldn't be racist.
Yeah, no. So we had puppets. We had.
I heard someone stole one of the puppets.
I didn't know that.
And that's also when you had the fake ice in the studio.
We had a pretend ice.
Didn't you skate a couple times on it?
I did not. I never wore skates, which made me look even more ridiculous. Darren Pang was the only guy who skated well on that ice. We had, who was it? Nathan Horton came in, and he was a Team Canada, so he's still a junior age player. And he skated around on that ice and did a demo of something for us. And I think his stock dropped in the draft like 20 spaces.
Why, it looked like he couldn't skate?
The best ever on that, though, Dougie Gilmore was in one night. And we were demonstrating the goal against Cujo, the St. Louis goal for the Leafs from behind the net. And so I was the goalie. It looked really bad because I was in a suit with a goalie stick. And Gilmore is doing the demonstration, and he scores the goal. And then we're going to commercial break, and I said, I was trying to be wise ass, and said, when we come back, Dougie's going to demonstrate the milk commercial with the cow pants, which everybody in Toronto remembers. Gilmore did this milk commercial where he wore these tights with cow pants. Anyway, I said that, and he cracked me so hard on the back of the calf with his stick. And it was literally like drew blood. And I was like, oh, back after this, right? And, so that was, the ice was dumped. And what else do we have? We had bands in. Remember they had a contest? We did like an American Idol type thing where they performed remember Bryan Adams did the original song? Mm-hmm. We're gonna win. Na-na-na-na-na-na, we're gonna win. And he just changed like 2 lyrics. He had the song. He already had the Bryan Adams song, and he changed like 2 lyrics. He added TSN. He's like, we're gonna win. It's hockey on TSN, and charged like $100,000 or something for us to use his song. And then we had some lame contest where the bands had to do their own version of the song.
Yeah, Sum 41 did one, I think, didn't they?
This is how bad we thought we were a big deal, and they had this contest where any band across Canada could enter and win like $50,000 in recording equipment. And the night before the contest was over, they hadn't gotten any entries. And so one of our producers called 2 of his buddies' bands and said, please send in a tape or whatever, and we're going to give away all this crap. So those are the good days.
Because tapes were still around. It was 2002. You remember those days.
Do I have to drink?
Yeah. Oh, so we haven't cracked a few things. Again, thanks for coming to the podcast. Secondly, could you try to keep your stories under 10 minutes each?
Oh, is that long?
Yeah.
Well, you asked me. You told me it was going to be This Is Your Life, so...
That's the longest story that's ever been told on this.
No, it wasn't even that good.
No, well. Here. So Duthie's never had an energy drink. You got to open right in the microphone. He doesn't know how to open a can.
But this is peer pressure. This is like some...
Do it. Oh.
I'm not the monkey.
Christoph's even popping.
Look at the monkey drinking the energy drink for the first time. What do you want me? What am I supposed to do?
Probably drink it. Here we go.
Why not, eh?
This is the worst segment ever.
No, this is great. This is... Oh!
I'm going to make it loud. Watch it. That's horrific.
That sound effect is going to live in every podcast from here on out now.
But apparently 10 calories.
So I was at a Bell event today, an off-site event where we had to go and play this match game. If you've ever seen the match game, it's Jody couldn't wait to get home because she wanted to blank herself. So you fill in the blank.
Right.
Every one of my answers I told them is going to be penis, and it was.
Right.
So,
which echoing what I said off the top of the show.
But I'm starting to get maybe if I was very fragile, I'd start to get a complex because I showed up at this event. First off, I get to the hotel. I was nowhere in the system. Get to the event. My name tag's not there. But you know whose name tag I did find there? Jay Onright. Jay was supposed to be there.
Right.
He was in Australia, so they're like, just get Dan.
Back!
That's like I got invited to do some Olympic event before the Olympics, and they phoned me the day of and said, hey, we really want you to do this event. I'm like, it's the day of the event. How badly do you want me to MC this event? What really happened? And they're like, Jay quit.
I remember that.
Jay quit about 4 hours before. So, yeah. Always, it's get used to it. It's the way it is.
It was good. I get to
It's
meet
nice little name cards too. What do they get? Some grade 4 to print those out for you?
Hey, you got to cost savings.
That's Bell.
Met our boss, George Cope.
Yeah.
He makes $10 million a year.
Yeah. Got Brian Burke fired.
That was the thing. They're like, don't mention that around him. And he's
he was
6'7".
one of six. One of six.
He's well, speaking of, I'm glad you brought up Brian Burke. We all saw his going away news conference.
Starting to take to this stuff.
You're going to be wired. I love it. You're going to be bouncing.
I have a highly addictive personality too, so this could be a problem.
This is I actually got you kind of a healthy one. It's the Rockstar Energy drink. It's a
10
smaller
calories.
one,
It says,
and it's the perfect berry. It's pink.
Yeah.
So I figured you like that too.
Why would you say that?
It's not as offensive. It's not like a black can where you're like, oh, this is X-rated.
I'd be scared by that. What does that even mean? Ooh, Monster Energy. I can't drink that.
Okay, so there's a guy on YouTube. You've probably seen his Danny Heatley video.
Weren't you going to tell me a story about George Cope for a second?
Now we're getting into Brian Burke. Again, I usually get back to my stories after I first bring them up, like near the end of the podcast.
Old man Toolsy.
Okay, before I get to the Brian Burke, I have to do something else from that Bell event. Is your phone?
Yeah, this phone's ringing. Should I get this?
No.
Hello? Yes, who is this? Jeremy.
Jeremy Taggart?
Yeah, Jeremy Taggart? Still on the line. Yeah, no, this is...
Who is it?
He doesn't. He doesn't know who the hell it is.
Tell him we'll call him back.
We're gonna call you back. Okay.
What the hell?
He says, "Hey, is this my favorite poker player?"
It is Jeremy Taggart. Then.
Why, but who did he think I was?
Remember we showed the split screen between you and the Poker Stars guy?
Oh, so I just really offended him because I'm like, "Get the hell off the line."
That's classic. Jeremy Taggart
sorry.
actually going to show up later in the show. He's the drummer from Our Lady Peace and one of our most popular guests.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he was referring to, he was upset that we didn't include that in the top 10 lookalikes the other night, you and the poker player.
Yeah, I didn't like that very much.
I did.
I don't like a lot of things on your show. You know, the one thing that bothers me the most?
Oh, great. What?
Is you guys will... I think what the listeners need to understand is that when we do like a hit for the show, for SportsCenter, like if the NHL and TSN panel does a hit, we tape it, especially for Dan and Jay's show. We might do it live into Dutchie's show, but then they use the same one for the Late Show. And so you morons will you'll do your intros, and I cannot react because it's on. So you two will be standing there, and you'll say like, "Hey, ever notice how Duthie looks like a groundhog? Let's send it down to the panel." And I'll be like, "Thanks very much, guys. On this Luongo situation."
Well,
and people think I'm a chimp.
Throw in a generic thing.
Just I'll just laugh. I'll just go, "You guys are crazy." On to the Flyers. Just do that every time.
I like it.
But then one night you'll have like Natasha say something completely straight, and I'll come, "You guys are idiots." So I can't do that
That'd
either.
go over well. I don't mind that.
Oh man.
Okay, I got to shed a layer because it's hot in here.
Are you going to finish one of your stories? I guess that's
No.
partially my fault.
No.
I feel really bad about the Our Lady Peace guy who called because I thought he was looking for somebody else.
That's weird how the phone rings. Can't we put it on silent? We should have brought him into the podcast here. Anyway.
This is incredible. This is more unprofessional than I ever thought it could be. And I thought it could be really bad.
Wait till that energy drink kicks in. Okay, so you know the guy on YouTube who does the Danny Heatley videos? Danny Heatley does the tour of his Kelowna home.
The best.
He did one for Brian Burke's goodbye.
Okay.
So his goodbye press conference, let's set the mood. It's Brian Burke standing in front of the media at Maple Leaf Gardens, his tie slightly disheveled as it always is.
Right.
And this is just after he got fired. So this is Brian Burke parody.
Hey folks, and it's usually at this point where I think Pat, I don't have to do it anymore, so piss off, Pat. As well, I usually thank you folks for coming down short notice and all that, and I don't have to do that anymore either, so they can all kiss my ass. So anyway, get on with the here, so I don't day here. It's over with. Would have been nice to get this notice here of prior to me going to Russia. There, it would have been nice to before I converted all my Canadian money and rubles there, whatever the those communist bastards use there in Russia there, whatever. Anyway, I couldn't be more happier in leaving this sinkhole organization there. 5 years, whatever the hell long I've been hired here. I don't look in the paper here. Oh, 08? Yeah. Anyway, or was it 09? I don't know. If there's 08, anyway, it doesn't matter when the I got hired. Just glad get the out of here. And I came in here and great expectations of this great empire league here. Am I here? Lost my tie again. Third one this year I lost there. Anyway, everyone calls Canada's team, and was proud to be part of that, I guess, for a little bit, until we got a blockbuster deal with enough there, and that didn't go over well, but what are you going to do there? So anyway, it's been a great stretch, a great time here. Had some good times, some bad times, and lost my tie on a few occasions here, and hiring Wilson there, didn't get the didn't win the battles there in the corners, and what are you gonna do? I drafted and stole drafts, and a lot of breakdowns in the drafting, and Nazem cadre there, and all these other clowns that didn't work out here. So the other players there, papers there, everything from goaltending to bad drafts and bad coaching, and just a big up all the way from the top to the bottom there, and I
can we pause it
can't
for a
help
second?
but feel a little bit responsible.
This is Duthie. Did you hear when we had Big City Ken on?
I heard about it. I didn't.
This is going to be one long beep. I never realized there was this much swearing in it.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, and it's the same as On Right, basically, from what I've listened to your podcast. He drops one every sentence, it seems like. So.
Oh, that guy. Well,
that guy's. I mean, I love Burke.
Is he
so
a
I hate
Canadian?
that, but that guy is funny. That guy is Ottawa. Ottawa Ghost, I think, is his name.
Is he a
That's the same
comedian?
guy.
Who is he?
I don't know. You got to find him. That's a Jay and Dan type thing. Find the guy, make him famous.
Okay.
But he's an Ottawa dude. Maybe he's the Paul McLean doppelganger.
Tweet. That guy was great.
Ottawa's a small town.
And people thought, okay, so the guy dressed up like Paul McLean and sat behind the senator's bench. People thought we interviewed him in like a Canadian Tire. He runs a parts store.
Right.
So he's just at work when we interviewed him.
Right. But it wasn't a fix or anything. His seats were actually there and everything, right?
Because he usually gives them to clients.
Right.
So he just finally decided to go to the game.
But anyway, when we first discovered those Danny Heatley videos, like it was a few years ago on the panel, and we just howled.
Oh, they're classic. Because I'm just shooting pucks here by myself. No one else hang out with it.
Yeah.
I'm an all-star, so.
How do people look that up? What is it, just Danny Heatley All-Star? Are they still on there?
Danny Heatley parody.
Yeah. But it's everywhere, because any player you talk to around the league, as soon as Danny Heatley's name comes up,
Yeah.
I'm an all-star.
So Heatley has to have seen it.
Oh yeah, he's seen it. He's aware of it. Ray knows Heater well, and I think Ray brought it up to him quite early.
Speaking of Ray, I got some inside info from him about you.
Oh, okay.
You can't tie a tie around your neck?
No.
You have to tie it around your leg?
Yes.
This is bizarre.
You want me to do it?
No.
Why?
Why? Why can't you tie it around your neck?
That's not good podcasting. Okay, well, my dad was like a real straight-laced Star CMP guy, and he told me at the age, like prom or whatever, when I first had to try to tie a tie, that...
Wait, you actually had a date for the prom?
And he said that you get a better dimple if you tied it around your leg. And he showed. But what I realized later in life, like when you're 18, you think your dad's everything, but I don't think he ever could figure out how to do it around his neck. So that's how he learned to do it around his leg. And I had to, yeah. Actually, you know what? The first time I ever had to tie a tie was I was on a game show, but that's another long story. You don't wanna hear.
What game show?
The New Chain Reaction.
The game is the New Chain Reaction. And here's your host, Jeff Edwards.
That was my television debut.
So you were like a guest on it or a
I was a
contestant?
contestant.
Wow.
Then the new Chain Reaction was like for a Canadian game show. It was syndicated in like the States, and it was kind of big money. As a matter of fact, the girl who beat me went on to be like the 5-time champion and won like 44 grand.
And you won nothing.
I was 19. I won a pink clock radio.
Congrats.
I had my dad's suit on and my little tie and like Corey Hart. I was in the Corey Hart phase with the spiked up hair.
Have you ever looked for this video?
No, but if you find it, it will live forever. It's in somewhere in the depths of CFCF because it was taped in Montreal.
Well, in the studio you do the NHL and TSN right now.
Right.
Camilla Scott used to tape there.
Yeah, Deanie Petty.
I was on the Camilla Scott show with my roommates.
I saw that tape. That was embarrassing.
Whoa. It was a good deal. So,
well, you were talking about what? Like it was something about partying or how to break up with a girlfriend or one of those lame shows.
We all lived in a house in Ottawa, and we were watching the Camilla Scott show, and at the end of it says, "Do you have a problem with one of your roommates?" And we're like, "Yeah, we can make that up."
Right.
So we call, and they interview each of us, and they're like, "So is there one of the roommates that you guys all don't get along with?" And we're like, "Yeah, Scott. We don't get along with him." So we went with it, got a free train ride to Toronto and back, $200 spending cash, night in a hotel. It's awesome.
So were you hammered on the show when you were on?
No, because you go straight to the VIA station, wherever the closest one is, to here. The car picks you up, and we drove right to the studio.
Was the show dirty? Like, did the producers coax you into crying and things like that?
No.
Like, say something mean about you?
No. And she comes out with her dog at the end, Camilla.
On the show?
Yeah. She was cute.
Camilla? Or
wasn't she? Oh, I'm stifling burps. This is what happens with these things.
Okay, so quickly on the new Chain Reaction. So here's what they do. They have a word at the top of the chain, and then you get and there'd be a word at the bottom, and there'd be like 6 blank words in between, and they were all basically, so they'd be all related to each other. So it'd be like, I'll give you mine. It was central, like central was the first word. So give me a letter under central, P, okay? This was actually my first chain. So,
I'm confused right now.
Okay, so you try to guess the words. They're related. So Central Park, for instance, okay? And then under park, the word was bench. So bench, press, words like that. Are you following it all?
Can you just, we don't have to learn how to play the game. Well, just tell us you're on it.
Okay, no, but I was going to tell you how it went, why I lost. So the word is central.
Okay.
So I'll take a letter under central, Bob or whatever the freaking guy's name was. So it's a P. So I'm like Central Pacific. No, sorry, that's not it. So the other contestant gets it. An A comes up. She's like, she can't think of it. So it comes back to me. R. P-A-R. No, I think it was on her for P-A-R. She still can't get it. It comes back to me. Can I have one more letter, please? There are no more letters. So it's a 4-letter word, P-A-R, under central. And I got it. I go, central part. And the host goes, did you say park? And I go, no, sir, I said part. Hey, that's not fair.
That was gold. It was a good story.
Trying to share something with you. It was an embarrassing moment in my life, all right?
Dan O'Toole, Silent Assassin.
Should have been James. Should have been Silent Assassin.
Wasn't supposed to be a story that got you to laugh. It was just a little piece of my background.
Can you explain how to play Scrabble next?
Like your Camilla Scott story was so awesome. So then we had my roommates went on, and you know what? They pick us up right at the train station.
Hey, I summed it up quick. I was in and out in 2 minutes.
Well, mine was better. But you didn't give it a chance. Your attention span is pathetic.
Oh, I know that. I'm the first to admit that. What was I going to say?
So then in the bonus round.
Viewer email. Are you okay over there? What are you doing?
I don't know. What's well, there's no viewers. What do you mean?
Listener.
But we're not live.
Well, the people send it after listening.
But, okay.
James Duthie's. And I have two things here. Thank you to Mark's. Renewed for a year of sponsorship.
Right. Not after they've heard me on here.
Well, we thought they would be bailing after they had the first 3-month trial, but thank you very much.
Do you think they actually listen, or they just
Harry was on the show.
They just count the number of
The president
Harry
of
Marks?
Harry Taylor. It's not Harry Marks. He came on the show and he brought Jay a hat. He brought me these jeans. I'm wearing the jeans he brought me. They fit perfect. It's an expanding waistline.
2830s.
Okay, here's the okay.
Yeah, this is good.
So this is from Damano9 on Twitter. If that Raccoon's End song ever plays on your podcast again, I'm boycotting. #super dumb. Well, Damano9, you got it. Did you ever watch this show, Duthie?
I don't have any idea what
You
you're
don't know
talking
what the
about.
Raccoons is?
No. Is it like one of your shows your daughters watch?
You don't know Cyril Sneer?
No.
This was from the time back in the 1990s. It's even further back. Actually, from the 80s, right? I think it's from the 80s.
What was it?
It was a cartoon. It was about the evergreen forest, and Cyril Sneer tried to destroy the forest, and the raccoons were on a quest to save the forest.
Okay, I got another thing to talk about with you. I
can't believe you've never heard of the raccoons.
All of your intros on SportsCenter are all about
cartoons,
kids shows.
Yep.
Like, I have this theory on sportscaster intros that you can tell where a sportscaster, at least a guy, that doesn't apply to the ladies, is in his life by their intros. And you clearly have toddlers because every intro you do, it'll be like Colin Kaepernick, and you'll be like, Colin Kaepernick, he's like, his performance against the Falcons is like that episode of Dora the Explorer.
It never happened.
Where Swiper stole the chocolate bananas, and then Diego swept in at the end and saved them. That's what every one of your intros is like that.
No, I make a lot of references during highlight backs to cartoons. And I know you did your silent or casual 49ers reference there. You can 49ers your team, I know, go to the Super Bowl.
But then you'll get a guy like the young guy who doesn't have kids, like Mudrick. All his intros will be based on going to clubs or something with chicks. He'll be like Colin Kaepernick.
Have you ever watched our show?
Colin Kaepernick's performance was like that chick at the gym the other day who you didn't notice at first in her sweatpants, but then she bought the Lululemon gear, and now she'll be at my place by Saturday. Like, that's what his intros are.
How much of that drink have you had?
I'm just saying.
You're getting delirious.
And then you get like Chris Berman, the old guy intros is always like 70s references. Colin Kaepernick. It's like that Eagles song, New Kid in Town from 1971.
No,
right?
He has all his go-to lines. The Tom Brady.
No, but he refers to 70s band lyrics all the time. And then I have nothing to offer anymore, so I don't even do metaphors.
You don't?
Not really.
You're just mailing it in at this point.
I bailed.
Well, I thought you'd be excited. The NHL hockey's back. You got something to do now.
You see, this perception that I did nothing for 4 months annoys me.
No, I'm just kidding. You did World Juniors. That was the wimpiest chug I've ever seen.
Yeah, that World Juniors was hell, by the way.
Oh, I know. Well,
the hockey was great.
You look well rested now.
I looked like crap.
You were looking like Mike Gillis's twin.
I looked like crap.
Gillis, the Canucks GM, he looks like he just needs a long nap.
Yeah. Well, but I've always had bags under my eyes. They're genetic.
No, you don't have any bags now.
Yeah, they're genetic. They're bad. Yeah. I don't have those red cocaine eyes like you have.
That's contacts. That's all contacts, I swear. Oh, these Sharpies. These fake Sharpies.
But you do. Do you actually, is that like are you doing a bit right there? Or
no, we like the smell of them.
Yeah. You're going to go down a dangerous road.
Okay, Jeff O'Neill's going to be our guest, but can we get to, we should get to On-Right first. Is that okay? We're going to get to On-Right sent me a letter.
This is well organized, this podcast.
On-Right sent me a letter.
Okay.
Because he's on a plane right now flying to Ayers Rock.
Oh, okay. Where the dingo ate the baby.
That's right.
Maybe the dingo ate your baby. What? The dingo ate your baby.
He's going to
spend... Would it be awesome if the dingo killed On-Right? I know you were doing a bit about On-Right dying last time.
It's just morbid.
That would be funny.
Here's J. On-Right's letter from Australia.
Is my baby daughter you're talking about?
Dear Toolsy,
I write to you from the Australian outback. I've got just a couple of days of food and water left. Don't think I'm going to make it. Actually, that's a lie. I'm having a beer down on a patio in downtown Melbourne.
So this is where Jeremy Taggart came in. He was our Australian accent because I don't know any Australians. This is so far the worst Australian accent I've ever heard.
So do you guys, when you show plan, like do you have show plan, podcast plan meetings?
No.
And you go, let's get Enright to write a letter and we'll get the guy from
he couldn't
from the
call
band
in.
to read it?
He couldn't call in. So I said, Enright, we need a check-in from Australia. So he wrote us a nice letter.
Is there more?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
And I've eaten so much on this vacation that I look like you after one of your weekly baths and a hell of a good dip. It's actually hot here. Real hot. I know it's cold back home, but this is too much. Put it this way. My nuts are sweatier than James Duthie's forehead as he waited to find out if he'd win his 4th Gemini. Melbourne is a wonderful place, but the trip started in Hong Kong. What a city. Great food, high-end shopping, casinos. It's like Vegas with all the fat Americans in sweatpants.
I love this so far because it sounds like a old-timey phone call now. It's like we're checking back in the 1800s.
And it's like Scottish-Irish, isn't it, a little bit?
I can't believe how fast things move here.
The Pete. The Pete.
Everyone seems in such a hurry.
I didn't want to leave China, but the Aussie Open beckoned. What a tennis tournament. As you would expect, I was seated in the international celebrity section. I was feeling pretty good about myself until I realized they had mistaken me for TSN reporter Paul Hollingsworth. I just rolled with it. They sat me behind Red Foo from LMFAO, who is apparently 37 years old but dresses like a 14-year-old cocaine dealer. The guy was wearing leather pants in 36-degree heat. His nuts were so sweaty that I could his nuts were probably so sweaty that he could fill a saltwater pool. I think I saw 2 Swedish guys trying to unzip his fly and climb in because they thought he was a sauna. He was there to cheer on Victoria Azarenka. I think they're engaged or something. I wonder if she makes the same bird calls as he does on the court during sex. Every time she grunts in bed, he probably reaches for the binoculars. Red Foo's entourage consists of 2 guys with hair clips. If there's one thing I've learned in life, Toolsy, it's to never trust a man with your hair clipped. They were probably in charge of hosing down Red Foo's nuts when the match was over. Afterward, I saw Serena Williams lose to Sloane Stevens.
Time called. So the guy goes to Hong Kong, and then he goes to Australia, and all he talks about is someone's nuts.
Yeah, well, this is, again, going back to my comment off the beginning of the podcast. Jay clearly made a wise choice to go to TV instead of the written word.
Watching Serena smash her racket really turned me on, I have to admit. Hope she uses that thing on me someday. I also spotted Patrick McEnroe checking out some chicks and giving them the eye. He was like, I'm Patrick McEnroe. At least you can say you to McEnroe. Just don't tell him which one. I bet he uses the line on all the girls. Well, Dan, it's time to continue my travels. I'm off to Ayers Rock tomorrow. You know the big giant rock that you see on all the Aussie travel guides? Yeah, that's the one. I will be there for 3 days. 3 days with looking at a rock. That's what I get for being the last guy on earth to use a travel agent. Hope you're enjoying the minus 30 weather. When you're outside shoveling snow, take comfort in your dry nuts. I'm off to take a shower. Red Foo's boys have got the hose ready. So long, Andre.
Wow. You know where the Andre came from?
No. I don't know a lot of your stuff.
I was getting my car fixed one day, and the lady was like, oh, yeah, I really like your guys' show. You know, you and Andre. So now we call each other.
That's funny.
But last night,
right.
Rick Brace, he's like second in command.
He's a bigwig.
He's a bigwig. So I said, yeah, Onright's away. He's like, who, Andre? He said it too. I'm like, no, Onright. So it's catching on.
Was that on the podcast that gag happened or on the air?
It happened, when? Who?
Well, I just want to know, is Brace listening to the podcast, Rick?
Probably not.
No, okay.
I don't know if any management listens to this podcast. Although I did talk to the TSN president, Stu Johnson, because that's where the silent assassin came from.
Right.
That's the first time I've seen him since I supposedly let one go by his wife at the Grey Cup, which I didn't, and I wanted to clarify.
Sorry?
Dan O'Toole, silent assassin.
So I apologized, even though I didn't need to.
But what where that misunderstanding come from?
Because
were you two alone
Onright
in a room?
was sitting talking to his wife, and I was over watching the game, and we were the only 3 people in the vicinity.
Right.
And Onright said one that was so pungent that you could almost taste it was let go by someone. I think it was the wait staff.
Were you in an open-air suite?
Yes.
So it could have come from a high row. Like, it could have come from a room.
It didn't come from me. I told Stu, I said, I don't play that game.
We all play that game, Dan. It's a matter of where the field of play is.
That's right. So I wanted to clarify, and I don't know if he believed me. Probably not.
Yeah. Your stories suck more than mine.
You wanted clarification. Okay. Our first guest is going to be Jeff O'Neill. O-Dog joining us on the Jay and Dan podcast. Your first ever visit. We've invited you before, but I think it got lost in translation, and you didn't get our official invite.
Perfectly clear. I've never been invited before.
Well, could you get a phone that works? We can barely hear you.
Are you in a bar?
I'm at the Air Canada Centre watching the beloved Maple Leafs.
Oh, all right. That sounded better.
Are you a bigger Leaf fan or a bigger Hurricanes fan?
I don't know. I kind of cheer for both. I wouldn't say my support's with one team or the other. I kind of follow them closely. I wouldn't say I'm kind of getting quite annoyed with all the questions my wife is asking me at the game, to be honest with you.
Like what? Give us samples.
Just telling me how many people she recognized in the crowd and why isn't the crowd loud and what are they doing, and I don't know what you guys do when you watch sports, but the last thing I want to do is answer silly girl questions.
Well, it is the worst atmosphere in any rink in the NHL, I think, at the Air Canada Centre.
I swear it is so quiet, and it's almost like they're waiting for something bad to happen. I don't know what it is, but I just wish they would cheer and scream, or I don't know. They got to somehow find a way to let tailgating happen around this arena because it's so quiet. It's crazy.
Well, the problem is you have all those people in the suits sitting closest to the ice, and those are the people, I'm not wearing a jersey. I'm too cool. I work on Bay Street. And they think it's too cool to cheer.
And at the beginning of every period, they're nowhere to be found, and if it's a 5-1 game, they pretty much go home. So that's pretty much the way it goes in this rink.
Yeah, but everybody makes fun of the suits, but I don't think O'Neill's there with the painted face.
You never know.
He doesn't have the big fuzzy finger, number one, holding up either.
Well, I'm not going to wear my old jersey in here, James. What do you want me to dress like?
You never took me up on that offer I made to babysit your kids that day. I think you offered $37,000.
Oh, my God. 50. I'll give you 50 on Sundays, pal.
You hate your children, O-Dog.
No, but when I'm with them from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, we're all there. We're all there with you, buddy.
And guy having no job, I have guys that have jobs that get to leave at 6 o'clock on Monday morning.
See, I say the same thing because I work at night, and James is in the same situation. So we're home all day.
Do daddy daycare in the morning.
Yeah.
But mine are gone. Like, mine are all in school, so I'm living the glory days where as soon as they're out the door, I have like a 9 to 3 window of just pure.
When my kids go to high school or university, I'm told my wife we're getting a 1-bedroom apartment, so they never, ever, ever come back.
It's a good call.
That's so sweet. Are you taking credit for breaking the end of the lockout?
I mean, no one really gave it to me, but I was responsible. I had an inside source at the hotel, and I broke the story, and I didn't get much credit for it. It's kind of disappointing. I wanted to see like a Bob McKenzie tweet that said, like, as per O-Dog 92, the lockout's over, but I never got anything.
And just to clarify, O-Dog tweeted, how long was it? Maybe 12 hours before the end of the lockout. Lockout over, season starts, whatever. What did you say? January Did you say 19th? You were close. You were within
No,
like a
I
day.
said 15th or something.
Okay. So he was BSing completely.
And I said 38 game schedule.
Yeah, that was right.
True?
Yeah, that was right.
Yeah.
And everybody gave, I don't know, somebody else got credit for it. Adrian Dater or some other
Well, I
reporter.
remember Bruce Arthur mentioned you in a tweet after you sent that. I said, I think we can all agree. Don't believe anything Jeff O'Neill says.
Well, I do like to send out some false information once in a while to see if I can trap some dum-dums into making dumb comments back. And it usually works. So.
Well, yeah, and your account gets hacked often, like about 4 times. I think it's been hacked, which is
No,
that's
just once, James. Just once
Yeah.
it got hacked,
yeah.
and I felt bad about it, and I never found out who did it. So, and you can't change your Twitter name. Lose the check mark, and I could never let that happen.
No.
You're one of my favorite Twitter follows. You
don't respond to my direct messages.
I did. That was the night the Twitter was acting up. And
the Twitter was broken. Sorry, Jeff. The Twitter was broken that day.
No, I responded 3
and then
times.
I forgot to respond after that in the weeks after.
I responded to your direct message, and it just kept getting bounced back.
His battery died. He just couldn't answer,
What a clown. Anyway, so Jeff O'Neill's my favorite, and also Chris Hadfield, the astronaut that's in space and tweeting pictures from space. I don't know how you can tweet from space, and I don't know how you can take pictures that clear. Do you follow him?
I think that's a fraud.
I'm not really into that stuff. I don't follow that nonsense.
Well, one of my favorite tweets was what was your New Year's Day tweet about the joggers?
Oh, we see you, New Year's Day joggers. We see you with the smiley faces.
I saw them too. I'm like, really? You showing off New Year's Day jogging? Yeah, we get it.
You know what you should do? You should have.
I stand that.
This will make no sense to ODog because he hasn't heard the rest of the program, but you should get Jeremy to read ODog9's tweets in an Australian accent on your next program.
We could make that, or get Rod Smith to read them.
That'd be good too.
I don't know if Rod Smith wants to read that stuff.
Are you gonna? Why don't you come on the panel?
I'm actually going in to see Jim Taddy next week and do some radio stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, radio.
But it's Taddy, the man, the myth, the legend.
No, Taddy's the best. But,
yes, guy.
But radio's.
Yeah,
Radios.
childhood idol, so I'm looking forward to doing some stuff with him.
Jim Taddy, he actually he gave me a puck. He was carrying a puck. I said, Jim, can you actually sign this puck for me? So he signed a puck in silver marker, says, yes, guy. I put it right next to my Dave Steeb signed baseball.
You're such,
that's
you're such a little boy.
Right
But wait a second, though, but would you come on the panel if we had you on the panel?
No, I could probably squeeze the panel in. I mean, you can never lose Wardo, though. He's the man.
You played with Wardo, right? You played with Wardo.
I did.
Was he a pain in the ass?
No, he's actually a great teammate. He's great guy.
Come on.
Great guy to have around.
Give me something.
Who's the biggest ass that you played with?
The biggest ass I've ever played with? Probably. God, you know what? I can't say his name, man. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus.
Do it. No one listens to this podcast.
David Tanabe used to drive me crazy in Carolina, man. He was a pain in the ass.
I hated him too.
Well, not as much as me.
What did he do?
He was just a pain in his ass. It's just a pain in the ass, man. I don't know how else to describe it.
Okay, here's my question. I wanted to ask a hockey player this. So the Edmonton Oilers, you know what they're dealing with right now. They've got a lot of youth. So you got that raw energy bouncing off the walls. Do they have to make sure they harness this or keep it contained? Because it must be like a powder keg ready to go off at any second because of all that talent and all these guys know that they're good.
Yeah, you know what? I watched them the other night, and I kind of got the sense that they were almost looking for the home run play when they got the puck and the extra fancy pass. I think if they could just simplify that stuff a little bit and bring like a little bit more of a hard-working kind of grinder. I know they're not kind of grinder players, but I think if they just brought that mentality or approach to the game, I think they're going to see a lot more success than trying to freewheel it every night. Because if you freewheel it every night, it's going to work some nights, but I think teams are going to pick you apart for the most part. And I think as soon as they learn that and get some solid goaltending, I think they're going to make the playoffs this year.
What's your Luongo take? I'm not going to say if you're Toronto, but if you're one of those teams out there, would you trade for Luongo?
I mean, if I was a team like Philly, I probably would. I don't know about Toronto. I think Toronto can get it done kind of like the way St. Louis does, with it's kind of the 2-goalie system, and they're both good guys. One's not, regarded as a superstar. And Reimer, I thought, played great for the first game in 10 months last night. And I'm at the game now, and Scrivens looks good too. This town's so fickle. I mean, there's one bad game until all of a sudden the panic button. Seems like there's a bad game Luongo needs to come to Toronto, but I don't think it's a fair way to approach it. I think you just let these kids ride with it and see what they can do.
Who's best goalie you ever played in front of?
Probably Brodeur and Hasek, although I had some pretty good success against them. They're pretty damn good every night. You had to have a pretty good shot to beat them, and they competed too. I think that's what a lot of these young guys don't understand is the best players in the world. They're not only the most talented, but they compete the most. And I think for a lot of the youngsters on Toronto or any other team, as soon as their compete level goes up, I think that's when success goes up too.
Didn't you play a lot with Trevor Kidd?
Oh yeah, he was a compete machine.
He had the old check. He was the last one, maybe only one with those checkered pads.
Yeah, he was a great guy, Kidder. He was a beauty, as I say, that's for sure.
Do you? The thing I like about you is you clearly watch games every night. Where I talk to a lot of players when they retire, they just kind of, I don't know, they're not fans of the game. They like playing the game for their career, but then I don't know if they need a break or they walk away. You've remained a massive fan of the game, fair?
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of both of my former teams too. I think, but I can see how it goes too. It's just when it's your job and it's your livelihood, and you're going to the rink every single day. It's for some guys, they just walk away. They don't touch their equipment. They don't watch it on TV, and they just move on. It's kind of it's an interesting thing, but it's I'm a fan of the game. I'm kind of a student of the game as much as people probably don't think that, but I like watching it and seeing what's going on and see how players react to certain things. So, just to have an inside kind of view, I know what's going on probably in the locker rooms or whatever. So I know Nabokov's not looking too good right now, I'll tell you that.
How about, you must have thought the worst that was going to happen when they had this 1-week training camp and the shape some of these guys probably came to camp in. But I didn't hear anything like that. I didn't hear any guys being 50 pounds overweight. Bufflin, everyone worried about him, but I guess he's in his perfect playing weight.
I'll tell you what, I was in South Florida, and Brendan Shanahan called me, and this was during the last lockout, and he says, whiskey and things are flying into New York, and there's probably going to be a season. You want to talk about a guy that was sweating bullets? I was one of them.
What, were you just fat? Or were you?
I was just not skating, just going for a jog on the beach every day and teeing it up, because it was pretty much known it was over. And then I was like, he called me and he said, well, there's this emergency and they're probably going to get this thing done for some 38 or some 35 games. Luckily, it was just nonsense, thank God. But
thank God we didn't play hockey that year. That would have been a disaster.
Well, obviously, it was not a disaster, but I would have had an uphill battle, to say the least.
Okay. O-Dog, thanks for coming on the podcast. What?
Say goodbye again. What was that?
Thanks a lot.
Oh,
okay.
See you,
Thanks,
buddy.
bud.
Talk to you later. He's funny.
He's one of the first, when Andre and I first got paired together.
You just bonked the mic with your head.
Christoph, you okay? Okay. I was still reporting at that time, and I was at the ACC, and he was in town. What was one of his final teams? Carolina?
Yeah, it was Carolina, Toronto.
So he's like, hey, where's your partner? So he's one of the first guys that caught onto our show, I think, on Right 9. You know, Andre?
You reported?
When I first got here, I worked weekends with Sunil Joshi.
Do you remember when I called you to try and make you come here? When you were still out in that dinky little Vancouver station or wherever you were?
I helped launch City TV in Vancouver. I have a Moses 9.
Were you impressed? Like, were you just wowed that I was on the other line? Hey, Dan, it's James Duthie from TSN. You might know me.
They also had Blake Price call me.
Oh, that kind of reduces things. I don't feel as special anymore.
Well, they thought I was a brilliant negotiator because I'm like, you know what? I really like it here.
Right.
And because you had done the same move, you're like, yeah, it's tough to leave Vancouver, but this is a great operation we got going here.
I was just totally BSing you.
I know.
But was that the difference? Do you think was my call the difference?
It was, and we've never spoken since, and that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
No, we played golf a couple of times. You always show up on like the fourth hole.
Hey, I did that once, and I won all the
You've done
skins.
that like 3 times, I believe.
Hey, I'm not used to early mornings.
This is Toolsy. You look at Toolsy. I got a tea time tomorrow, but we're like first group out at Wooden Sticks, so it's
keep
like,
in mind I work till 2 a.m.
It's like 7:20. Okay, so can you make? If you can't make it, I totally understand. I know you have a late shift. No problem, Jimmy. I'll be there, Jimmy. I live right out there. I'll be there. I'm in the Schwa. It's just 5 minutes up the road. Okay, Toolsy. But like the guys I'm playing with, they'll get pissed off if there's not a fourth. Okay, because there's a long line of people who'd want to play. No problem. I'll be there. I'll be there, Jimmy. Hole number 5. Toolsy, where are you? Oh, I did the AM PM thing on my alarm clock. Oh my gosh, I'll get there right away. That's my Toolsy impersonation.
I'm like, shucks. Sorry,
and you
Mr.
get there, and you did. You got there in about the 10th hole, and we'd had 9 carryovers, and you won the skids with your wacky little stance where the left leg is 4 feet in front of the right leg as you swing, and you somehow hit the ball.
I'm glad you reenacted that. Wow, you just hate these energy drinks, don't you?
That's why. Watch me on the show tonight. We got a game to do later on. Do you try not to keep the show dated? Like, is it wrong?
Yeah, we try not to keep it dated.
Oh, okay. But
I make no date references.
O-Dog made like 9 references to the Leafs game.
That's fine.
Okay.
Can we play a little Big City Ken? Because Duthie doesn't know this guy. So this guy left messages at a bar in Peterborough. I just wanted you to get a sample of what he sounds like.
Welcome to the Hiccups. South Canada, here I come. I came from the big city. I'm the guy who welcomed you to your new Hiccups. I hold power always.
So this guy left like 11 messages at this bar, and tonight,
so what's your connection to this? You just
we know the guys, and they
said
you got to hear these messages, and I'm like, yeah, that's perfect for the podcast. And my brother actually sent me a text tonight. He's like, my friend thinks it's all made up. I'm like, what? Why would anyone ever make that up? Because if we hadn't played it on the podcast, no one would ever hear those messages.
Trust me.
That sounds like I had this dude when I used to do local sports in Ottawa. Do you ever have the guys? They used to publish the phone lines in the paper. Like, do you have regular callers when you were doing sports in Vancouver or anything like that?
No.
So our sports line was in the phone book, and I had a guy who called me who kind of sounded like that dude, and this is what he said to me every night. He'd say, "Hey, how are ya?" And I'd say, "Good." And he'd go, "You like the dunk tank?" And I'd say, "What?" You like the dunk tank? You know, at the fair, the dunk tank. I'm like, yeah, okay, I like the dunk tank. I got to go. Do you want to score anything? Hey, you wearing your rubber boots tonight? I say, what? You wearing your rubber boots tonight? And so he would literally say those two things every night when he called me, and so I'd start hanging up on him. But
did you hear like strange noises, like he was maybe doing something to himself?
No.
While
and once in a while he'd panic when I'd say, "Look, you have to ask for a score, or I'm not going to talk to you." And he'd say, "Hey, the Cubs, how are the Cubs doing?" And I'm like, "They're not playing tonight, you idiot." But so he had a fetish of some degree, because when I got bored, I'd start playing with him. So he'd go, "Hey, how are you? You got your rubber boots on tonight?" I go, "Yeah, I do. I'm going to have them on during the sportscast." And he goes, "Oh, what color?" And I got the yellow ones on tonight. "Oh, could you lift them up on the table?"
Oh my! So this guy had a rubber boot foot fetish.
Yeah, he had a rubber boot fetish.
And you just played into that.
Oh, I loved it.
Oh man!
Hey,
it's the creepiest thing I've ever heard in my life.
You like the dunk tank? Oh,
it's Matt Dunnigan.
What was that? That was Dunnigan. That's awesome.
Oh. I didn't get to my Moses story. So I was at City TV.
You didn't
in
get to 9 stories that you started earlier in the program.
So I was at City TV in Vancouver, and the only time everyone in Canada probably knows Moses Znaimer. Right. He started City TV. He was behind Speaker's Corner and all that stuff. And so he was there for the launch, and he walks by me. He goes, "Oh, hi. I wanted to tell you, you and Catherine Humphrey should have TV babies." So Catherine Humphreys does sports at City TV in Toronto, and she's actually married to Johnny Faye, the drummer from the Tragically Hip.
Yes,
and that was my one interaction with Moses.
Didn't he date what was her name, Monica Te'o? Is that right?
Moses?
Yeah, she was
Monica
like
Te'o came out, and when I left, she was doing the news at the 11 o'clock.
Well, she did the news at VTV, where I was in Vancouver first.
Yeah.
She had the greatest gig ever. She would walk in at 5:45, go into makeup. Somebody would hand her a script, like literally on the way by to the set. She would read the script and walk out at 7:01.
Yeah, that's what she did. She walked in to do the 11 o'clock news at about 1:45 because she made sure her kids were in bed, came, did the news, went home.
She was purdy.
And she probably got paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah, she was really purdy. I liked her. Wow. What, we got anything else?
Yeah, we got a lot of things to get to. We still have to do TV theme vault.
What about, don't you have a story about that stripper that was with Ben Affleck in Vancouver? Are you going to tell that one?
I don't know. Can't get into stripper talk, can we?
I don't know.
Why not, eh?
Anyway, that's a story for another podcast.
That's the
You're rattled. I've rattled you right now. No, I've for the first time, I think I've rattled you.
No, that's the adult establishment in Vancouver where you can't wear running shoes, so you have to go to the hotel next door and rent like the cheapest loafers on earth, and they give you these to wear in. Meanwhile, so you take off $200 running shoes and put on $5 loafers.
I shouldn't tell this, but I was lured there the night before my second play-by-play CFL game.
Oh, no.
And I don't know. I got back to the hotel like 6 a.m. and I was so green. Like they were trying to white balance the cameras and thought, no, dude, you're green. John Hines. That was the same show that Leif Pettersson was my play-by-play guy, the late Leif Pettersson. And he left with 2 minutes left in the game because he wanted to catch his flight. Now,
so this is your second game.
My second game. And John Hines was the producer. He's like, he's in my ear going, okay, Leif, for a replay on green. I go, Heinze, he's gone. What? Yeah, he left to catch his flight. So I do the last 2 minutes by myself. It was like a 41-12 game or something like that, but it was, I did my own analysis. It was quite funny.
Heinze, he's gone. Have you heard TV theme vault on this show?
I have not.
I'm sweating. I got to turn on the,
I got a shirt and tie. I got to do a hockey broadcast. You got your cool little
You're gonna be right.
T-shirt.
Okay, so TV theme vault. We play some themes from old TV shows.
Oh, and I'm supposed to guess them or whatever?
No. So here's one. We've never had a cartoon theme.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's
a nice breeze.
Let's cartoon theme.
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. So just sit back and relax. You'll laugh with the laughs. We're Animaniacs. Come join the Warner Brothers and the Warner Sister Dot. Just for fun.
What a show!
Okay, well, so
do you remember this show?
No, but what's the point? What is the point of this segment? What do you do now? You just play it?
Take a walk down memory lane.
It doesn't lead to anything?
Nope.
No, I remember that show, but
it was like a Steven Spielberg produced show. It was one of the most brilliantly written cartoons. It had a lot of innuendos.
Like sexual ones.
Well, there's one where they walk in
but
and
was
this
it
guy
aimed
playing
as
the
a kid
piano.
show? Was it aimed as a kid show?
Oh, it was a kid show.
Was it had more sexual innuendos than like the old Spider-Man cartoons? Because have you ever watched the old Spider-Man cartoons we watched when they were kids? Like the original Spider-Man cartoons, which is, I'm a little older than you, is what I watched. And they're all like, they were 60s. They're all psychedelic 60s. They all must have been on drugs, the guys doing the cartoons. And they're all sexual innuendos with the really like bad 60s lingo, like, hey babe, and you gonna come back to my place after I spin my web kind of thing. That's in the cartoons that I watched every day at noon.
My spider senses are starting to tingle.
This one was, they'd walk in on this guy playing the piano, and they're like, what are you? He's like, I'm a pianist. And they're like, pardon me? I'm a pianist. And it just went on for like 5 minutes.
And that's the most well-written show you watched as a young man?
So it was on for 5 seasons. Executive producer was Steven Spielberg.
Right. What are we talking about, the 90s?
Yeah, it was from 93 to 98.
Okay.
I can't believe you don't remember. I'm very upset. Okay, you'll probably know this one, though.
This is better than my imagination. This is more than a dream come true. Without the slightest bit of
There's just a look of disgust on Duthie's face.
That was terrible. I never really watched that show, but it was terrible.
Let's
right?
listen.
You'll never guess my secret identity. Who's on the inside hiding out?
So So this was My Secret Identity. This show originated in Canada. Jerry O'Connell, this was his big break, right? No, I guess Stand By Me was his big break.
Right.
What was the premise of this? See, this is where Andre comes in, because he knows all this stuff that you don't even need to know. It actually started on CTV. I didn't know that.
Right. Do you, they still play Hobo now on like Saturday mornings. Do you ever watch, or do you let your kids watch Hobo?
Yeah.
I watched it with my son, who's 13, last week, and he was on the floor howling.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's hilarious.
it's great.
It was the one about, it was the kid who was a cross-country runner, and there was another cross-country runner who bullied him all the time, so every time they had a race, he'd like elbow him and knock him out of the race.
So the littlest hobo ate the kid's face off?
No, basically, the littlest hobo came in the last race and like grabbed the other kid by the pant leg and pulled off his shoe, basically, so the other kid could win.
And then they had to put the littlest hobo down?
Yeah, they shot him.
So the synopsis of my little identity, of My Secret Identity. So Jerry O'Connell stars as a 14-year-old. He's looking one day for his friend, Dr. Benjamin Jeffcoat. Trips and is hit by a photon beam, causing him to develop superpowers. He uses these abilities to fight crime, to solve personal problems, and to help others. Why do you need superpowers to solve personal problems?
Personal problems are challenging.
He hides his powers from his mom, sister, and friends.
I don't think I ever watched that show.
I just remember that the doctor, Dr. Jeffcoat, first off, why is a 14-year-old friends with a doctor?
Creepy.
Something creepy there. But he was the biggest nerd. He was that guy with the glasses.
Right.
So that's My Secret Identity. A lot of people, the reason I played that is because a lot of people requested that one on the Twitter machine.
Yeah, I don't really understand this segment.
Do we have any more Australian Tuesday? Oh, Tuesday, Andre.
What is going on?
Story time with producer Tim. Oh, so have you heard Why Not, eh?
No, I don't know any of the stuff on the show.
Why not, eh?
So that is the woman who she painted. This is CFLK when she was CFLK. Now she's TSNK.
I love her.
You work with her.
Love her.
She's our interactive host. I don't know.
Yeah, no, she's
multimedia.
Yeah, Twitter, multimedia, does stuff.
So she was
she's an incredibly nice lady.
I've met her once. I met her at the Grey Cup.
I knew her mom. That's how dated I am, apparently. That's what she hit me with the other night. I knew her mom. I knew your mom. No, wait a second. She said, my mom worked with you or knew
wow,
you
that's a
this.
punch to the face.
Yeah. It was like at the Stanley Cup final, me and Seaballs were at a bar, the 07 final in Ottawa, when the Ducks were taking on the Sens, and we're at a like young dancey bar, and this really hot girl came up to me and started talking to me, and I was giving the Seaballs the wink, like, still got it. And she goes, yeah, you played touch football with my dad. And I just
walked out of the bar,
crumbled to the ground.
So this was when she was on the train across Canada, and they stopped in Edmonton, and they went to this house,
right.
And they painted their house green and
I saw
gold.
that. I did see that.
And she asked, well, why'd you do it? She said, well, the paint was on sale, so we figured, why not, eh?
Why not, eh?
Right.
So whenever someone says, why not, eh? Like last week we had a soccer guy say, why not, eh? So whenever people say this now, they inform us on Twitter, and we put it into the show. So this is the Brit why not, eh?
Why not, eh?
So now we had a Dave Hodge why not, eh? My Twitter exploded on Sunday morning on the reporters after Dave Hodge dropped this.
Kovalev, on a given night, will give both teams a good chance to win. But he's an artist. That was his nickname in Montreal. And he adds to the league, and he could be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, why not, eh?
Now, is he doing?
Why not, eh?
Is that on purpose? Like,
no, I doubt it. No. There's no chance he's listened to this.
No. I don't know. Hodge is a very funny man. He'd appreciate you. Maybe not all the penis stuff and the constant cursing, but
why not, eh?
He gets along with Onray because they both talk music.
Right. I'm the same as you.
My newest album's like 10 years old.
I went on
back from the 2002s.
You know the Beats show we have on the show with the guy from there's a radio show like Sports Beats.
I don't listen to the radio.
Darren Pfeiffer, my good buddy, and the guy from and Tyler from Bare Naked Ladies.
I was on it once.
Yeah, I was on it once too, and they're saying, "So what's your taste in music? How eclectic are you?" And I'm like, I got Taylor Swift.
Well, the guy who hosts that with Tyler I think he's mad at me.
Darren Pfeiffer.
Yeah, because he said, hey, can you tweet out when you're on? I'm like, I don't self-promote on Twitter because I feel like a D-bag, so I'm not going to do that. He's like, so it's going to be on this weekend, so just send that tweet out. I'm like, sorry, I'm not going to do that.
The worst guys on Twitter, and there are a couple of guys that are on air at TSN who I'm going to have a talk to.
Yeah.
The worst, the most annoying thing on Twitter is when someone compliments you and you find a way to retweet it with a little comment at the end. Like, hey, you looked hot today on the show. And then you retweet it and go, hey, thanks a lot. Like, that's the worst.
I know.
Please don't ever do that.
I don't.
I know you don't. Nobody ever says that about you.
And story time with producer Tim. Do you know this segment?
I don't. I'm not aware of it.
Okay, so producer Tim, who you met him tonight? I saw that interaction. It was very
I did.
awkward.
I used to do Sports Center when he was around. He's produced shows I was on.
Really?
Well, I think he was like the Chiron guy, which is the guy who types in the names or whatever. He wasn't a big time producer yet.
Types in the names.
He didn't make him famous. But I just reduced that position to.
Yes.
Yeah,
Way to go.
But yeah, I've known Tim for a long time.
So Tim comes on and reads us a story and creeps everyone out.
All right.
Can you tell me a bedtime story?
If anyone thinks I have an easy job, please just keep in mind that in the last week I've had to watch both the Oprah Winfrey Network and the Katie Couric Show. The end.
That's it.
I watched that Manti Te'o thing on Katie Couric.
And do you believe him?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So I got a Tic Tac. I went for a Tic Tac. This one's a little small.
Do I have this straight?
Tic Tac voice.
So he was talking to someone on the phone, but it turned out it was a guy he was talking to?
Well, apparently the one guy's done the whole thing. I should get rid of the Tic Tac.
Yeah. Some manners.
Yeah, apparently. But if you've heard the recordings, it's unbelievable. It does sound like a hot girl.
So is it like just, hi, honey, what's up?
No, it sounds exactly like a girl talking to her boyfriend. It's
wow.
Now, the guy is not completely innocent. I totally think that here's a guy who got a typical male who was exaggerated a relationship because he was probably completely embarrassed about it. So he lied to his buddies, lied to everybody about the relationship because you would feel like a goof if you'd never met the girl. And then did get sucked into all the, there's a lot of people there that get sucked in by when people give them sympathy, they love that. And so I think he's definitely guilty of that, but I think he totally got played.
So Christoph, you actually have this fake woman's voice. Let's listen to this.
Hey babe, I'm just calling to say goodnight. I love you. I know that you're probably doing homework or you're with the boys or grubbing me. What a fatty. But I just want to say I love you and goodnight, and I'll be okay tonight. I'll do my best.
That's a guy.
So,
it's unbelievable.
Wow.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. I love you so much, and sweet dreams.
Okay, I changed my tune then.
It's hard not to buy that. Now.
But so after the third 1 hour phone call, is this guy like, no, how long do I have to do this? I've got to just impersonate for the rest of my life?
Well, I don't know the whole story, and maybe by the time the podcast is out, there'll be more, but I think that maybe he had sincere, deep feelings for Manti. And so this was
his way of getting in.
He was invested in a love affair. The voice was different, but the feelings were real. So it was.
That is bizarre.
But the guy, Manti, I'll say this: he's Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Right. To buy all this stuff.
Well, one of the best lines was, "If this is all true, then Manti should not be allowed on the computer unsupervised for the rest of his life."
No. Yeah.
Is he just clicking on every pop-up and buying everything that comes up? Does he order 5,000 things online every day?
Yeah, it's not pretty. It's like that Twitter spam that says lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks or whatever. He's like, yeah, I'll take that. I can't believe 9 people send me that. I'm overweight. It's a goofy story, but I just hope the Niners don't draft him.
Okay, you're tight for time, so our last segment is the Mark of the Week. This is because it's the Mark's Perfectly Pressed podcast, now brought to you by Mark's Perfectly Pressed Socks.
Right.
You already saw who it's going to be.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
okay.
I didn't, honestly.
Okay, so we have a Mark of the Week. So it could be a musician, it could be a famous person, it could be an athlete.
Person named Mark.
So you have to guess.
Spitz.
I don't know who it is. We have to let the Plinko chip fall.
Well, it'd be better if I guessed before, don't you think? That would be impressive.
It's not Mark Spitz. How about you listen to the voice?
Seriously, this is not new. It's been disproven. What you saw was a placebo effect. There's athletes that wear it. It's a joke. It's a scam. It's not real.
Is that related to like the Manti Te'o?
No.
Well, can I hear it one more time?
Sure.
Seriously, this is not new. It's been disproven. What you saw was
got it.
What is he talking about?
That's right.
You are our winner.
You want me to tell the chain reaction story again?
That was from Shark Tank, and some guy was coming on doing his show Shark Tank.
No. Yes, I do know that. I was just having you on.
So some guy was pitching one of those magnetic bracelets, and Cuban's like, it's a scam. You can't sell these.
My wife, God love her, is... Yeah, I don't want to go there.
She needs to meet Manti Te'o.
No, you know what she's got? Have you ever seen the little stickers on the phone? It's like a tiny little sticker the size of a dime, and it's supposed to take away all the radiation. No. And every electrical device in our house has one on them, and they're like $10, and they're probably made for about $0.01. And so there's about $1,000 worth of them in our house. And so she probably has 4 of the bracelets too.
Well, I always have my phone in my pocket, so it's resting next to my nuts. So I'm lucky I have 2 kids now, because I'm probably it's all dried up down there.
Again, it all begins and ends there in the show, doesn't it?
James,
did I do it? Did I make enough balls references to be on the show again?
That's your first. Yeah. So we might have you back next week if I
bring better material.
No, Aaron Ward was supposed to come in, but I don't.
Yeah, he wouldn't be good. He's a phony.
He might just end up punching me.
Yeah. No, he's I gotta tell this story about Wardo or not.
Quick.
I don't have any quick stories.
Okay, well, try sum it up in 8 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll tell you this. He shoes people. You know what shoe is?
Yep.
He does that all the time, right?
Still.
In a restaurant, big table.
He doesn't do it to Bobby,
goes under
though,
the
does
table,
he?
takes the hollandaise sauce. No, he doesn't do it to Bobby. He picks on the weak like me. But so somebody shoot him in New York at the lockout at one of our tables, and he lost his mind. He was like, wine went flying all over the table, and bottles were flying, and he grabbed a pitcher of water and threw it on the guy's head. It was...
Wow.
Yeah, so...
Who was it?
He's a bit of a baby.
Who did it?
Some techie. Wow. Like a Reg the techie or something like that. But I think Wardo was mad because he'd already warned him not to do it. He'd caught him trying. And I guess there's some rule in shoeing that if you're caught trying, you can't go back.
Yeah, that's the rule.
And the guy went back anyway. So in Wardo's warped world, he's dead to him. And he'll do awful things. Like Nicole Anderson, who works with us, who treats Wardo like gold. She
treats all of us like gold.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
She does everything for him. She played some sort of trick on him. I can't remember what it was. And his revenge plot, he was going to go to her house and take all the wheels off her car and put them on blocks. And he was telling me this with a dead straight face. Yeah, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm like, no, you can't do that. That's Nicole. Oh, no, I'm going to get her. Going to put her car up on blocks.
Someone sent him something on Twitter once, and he found that person, I think.
No. Oh, yeah. Oh, no, we all engage in something called Twitter terrorism. I'll tell you about that next time we're on.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming
I got kids suspended from high school once.
You did?
Yeah, I was bored one day.
Oh, my God. You guys are crazy.
They weren't even talking to me. They were just being mean to other people at the station.
Yeah,
so.
Don't be a bully.
No.
Thanks, Duthie.
Thanks for having me on, Dan. It was a real pleasure.
Bye. Have a great week.
They're going home.
Dance. 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 Keep dancing.
Do you come from a land down under?
Dance. Dance.
Can't you hear the thunder?
Dance.
You gotta run, you gotta take cover.
Dance.
Brought to you by Mark's Never Iron.